The person you love talked to someone about you, and they said, "Open it. My beloved child." Don't skip, because what you're about to hear isn't something that happens every day. The person you love reached a moment where they could no longer keep their feelings locked away. They carried your name into a conversation they never imagined having, and the response they received changed the way they now look at you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and every second of this message is leading to a revelation that could explain why everything suddenly feels different. They didn't ask for advice because they wanted to forget you. They asked because they couldn't stop thinking about you. They wanted someone they trusted to tell them if the emotions growing inside them were real or if they were simply afraid of what loving someone so deeply could mean. The silence before that answer felt endless. Their heartbeat grew louder than their thoughts. Then, finally, the words they heard were nothing like they expected. Those words didn't push them away from you, they pulled them closer. In that instant, they realized they had been hiding from a truth that had been standing in front of them all along. Since that conversation ended, your name has echoed in their mind in ways they can no longer ignore. Every ordinary moment reminds them of you. Every quiet evening brings back memories they tried to bury. They thought talking about you would help them move on, but instead, it opened a door they can no longer close. A strange shift began the moment they walked away from that conversation. They replayed every memory, every smile, every missed opportunity, and every word left unsaid. Don't skip, because the next part of this story explains why their behavior may suddenly seem different. The person they spoke with didn't tell them to give up. They didn't tell them to protect themselves. Instead, they asked one simple question that completely shook their heart: if this person disappeared from your life forever, would you truly be at peace? Those words hit harder than anything they had ever heard. They couldn't answer immediately because deep inside, they already knew the truth. The thought of losing you created a feeling they couldn't escape. That single question uncovered emotions they had hidden beneath fear, pride, and hesitation. Suddenly, all the excuses they had been making began to fall apart. They realized they weren't waiting because they didn't care. They were waiting because they were terrified of being vulnerable. But fear grows weaker the moment truth is spoken aloud. That conversation became the mirror they never wanted to face, and in that reflection, they finally saw how much space you already occupied in their heart. Stay till the end, because what happened after that conversation is even more unexpected, and the next decision they made could change everything from this moment forward. Now something inside them refuses to stay quiet. Every sign feels louder. Every coincidence feels more meaningful. They keep wondering why your name appears in their thoughts at the exact moments they least expect it. Something huge is waiting for you because the conversation didn't simply end with advice, it ended with a challenge. They were told that some opportunities only knock once, and if they allowed fear to win again, they might spend years wondering what could have happened if they had simply been honest. Those words have stayed with them ever since. They haven't forgotten them for a single day. In fact, they are quietly preparing themselves for something they never believed they would have the courage to do. You may not see it yet, but behind the silence, a decision is slowly taking shape. Their heart is no longer running from the truth. It's running toward it. And before this story reaches its most powerful turning point, another unexpected conversation is about to happen, one that will reveal something about your connection that neither of you saw coming. Don't skip. Because the next chapter begins exactly where this life-changing conversation left off, and what is about to be revealed will make everything you've heard until now feel like only the beginning. A restless night followed that unforgettable conversation, and no matter how hard they tried to distract themselves, the same words kept returning. You already know what your heart wants. Those words refused to leave them alone. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They looked back at every moment they once dismissed as ordinary, only to realize those moments were quietly becoming the foundation of something far greater. The laughter they almost forgot, the small kindnesses they overlooked, even the silence between conversations suddenly carried a meaning they had never noticed before. It felt as though invisible pieces of a puzzle were finally falling into place. The more they remembered, the harder it became to pretend that you were simply another person in their life. Deep inside, they realized you had become the one thought they could never truly escape. That realization didn't bring fear anymore. It brought clarity. For the first time, they stopped asking themselves whether they should keep their distance and started wondering how they could ever explain everything they had kept hidden. Then another surprising moment unfolded. Someone noticed the change in them almost immediately. Without hearing a single word, they could tell something had shifted. They smiled and quietly said, "You're thinking about that person again, aren't you?" Those simple words caught them completely off guard. They tried to deny it, but their expression revealed everything before they even opened their mouth. Stay till the end, because this is where everything becomes even more powerful. Instead of teasing them, that person shared one unexpected piece of wisdom. They said that the strongest connections are often the ones people spend the longest trying to ignore. Hearing that felt like another door opening inside their heart. Suddenly, all the walls they had built out of uncertainty began to crack. They understood that every day spent hiding their feelings only made those feelings stronger. What they once believed was confusion was actually certainty waiting for the right moment to be accepted. And now, that moment was beginning to arrive faster than they ever imagined. Now their thoughts are moving in a completely different direction. Instead of wondering whether they should stay silent, they're beginning to imagine what could happen if they finally let honesty lead the way. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and the next step is closer than anyone realizes. They have started replaying possible conversations in their mind, searching for the perfect words, hoping they won't be too late. Every heartbeat reminds them that some opportunities don't wait forever. Every sunrise feels like another chance slipping away if they remain silent. But this time, something is different. The fear that once controlled them is slowly losing its grip, replaced by a quiet determination they have never felt before. They don't want another day to pass wondering, what if? They want answers. They want truth. And they are closer than ever to taking the first step that could completely transform the story between you. What happens next isn't just another conversation, it is the beginning of a decision that neither of you will ever forget. Everything became even more intense when they stopped listening to everyone else and finally listened to the quiet voice inside their own heart. That voice had been whispering the same truth for far too long, but fear had always been louder. Not anymore. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They found themselves staring at old conversations, remembering tiny details that most people would never notice. A single smile, a thoughtful word, a moment of unexpected silence, each memory suddenly carried a weight they had never felt before. They realized that none of those moments were ordinary. Every one of them had been leaving a mark on their heart, preparing them for a realization they could no longer avoid. The person you love began asking themselves one question over and over again: why does every road I take somehow lead me back to this person? No matter how they tried to move forward, your presence kept appearing in their thoughts like an answer they couldn't outrun. Instead of resisting it, they slowly began accepting that maybe this feeling wasn't something meant to be hidden. Maybe it was meant to be understood. Then something happened that completely caught them by surprise. During an ordinary moment, someone mentioned your name without even knowing what had been happening inside their heart. The room suddenly felt quieter. Time seemed to slow down. Stay till the end, because this unexpected moment changed everything once again. They listened carefully as that person described you with words that sounded almost identical to the feelings they had been trying to bury. It was as if life itself was reminding them that the truth doesn't disappear simply because it's ignored. They didn't interrupt. They didn't argue. They simply listened, and with every sentence, another layer of doubt disappeared. For the first time, they imagined a future where fear no longer decided their actions. They imagined speaking honestly instead of wondering forever what might have happened. That single conversation didn't just give them hope, it gave them courage. The walls around their heart were no longer standing as tall as before, and the distance they had created between themselves and the truth was becoming smaller with every passing day. Now a quiet decision is forming, one they haven't shared with anyone yet. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you, and the next move could arrive sooner than expected. They know that silence has already stolen enough time. They know that waiting forever only creates regrets that can never be erased. So instead of looking backward, they're beginning to focus on what comes next. They aren't searching for the perfect moment anymore, they're searching for the courage to create it themselves. Every passing day strengthens that determination. Every new sunrise reminds them that life keeps moving whether fear is ready or not. And somewhere deep inside, they can already feel that a turning point is approaching. A message that was never sent, words that were never spoken, and emotions that remained hidden are all moving toward the same unforgettable moment. The next chapter begins exactly where courage meets opportunity, and once that moment arrives, nothing between you will ever feel the same again. The moment they had been avoiding for so long was suddenly standing right in front of them. There was no dramatic warning, no perfect timing, just one quiet instant that felt impossible to ignore. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They paused, took a deep breath, and realized that every excuse they had been holding onto had finally lost its power. They remembered the conversation that changed everything and understood that the person who had listened to them wasn't trying to give them answers, they were trying to help them discover the answer that had always been inside their own heart. That realization brought an unexpected sense of peace. Instead of wondering whether they should reach out, they began wondering how much longer they could live without knowing what the truth might bring. The fear of being misunderstood was slowly being replaced by something far stronger, the hope that honesty could finally open a door that had remained closed for far too long. Every passing minute made that hope grow stronger, and they could no longer pretend nothing had changed. Then another unexpected detail appeared, one they never saw coming. While going about an ordinary day, something reminded them of you so suddenly that they couldn't stop smiling. It wasn't a grand event. It was one tiny moment that carried an enormous meaning. Stay till the end, because this is where everything begins to connect. They realized that thoughts of you were no longer arriving because of memories alone. They were becoming part of their everyday life. Your name no longer felt like a chapter from the past, it felt like a possibility waiting in the future. That quiet realization filled them with a confidence they had never experienced before. They stopped asking themselves whether their feelings were real. Instead, they started asking how they could express those feelings in a way that truly reflected everything they had kept hidden for so long. The uncertainty that once controlled every decision was fading, replaced by a determination that surprised even them. They knew that if they stayed silent any longer, they might lose the opportunity they had secretly hoped for all along. Now everything is moving toward a moment that cannot be postponed forever. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and the next step will reveal why this entire journey unfolded exactly the way it did. They have already made a promise to themselves that they will no longer allow fear to speak louder than their heart. Every lesson, every memory, every unexpected conversation has led them to this exact point. They know the road ahead may still feel uncertain, but one thing has become absolutely clear: they don't want another chapter of unanswered questions. They want clarity. They want honesty. Most of all, they want the chance to finally reveal what has been growing inside them all this time. And just when they believe they are ready to take that life-changing step, an unexpected moment is about to unfold. One final surprise that will test their courage and reveal whether this story is only beginning or whether it is about to change both of your lives forever. My beloved child. The waiting is almost over, but the most unforgettable moment has not arrived by accident. Every conversation, every silent thought, every unanswered question has been leading here. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The person you love has finally stopped running from what they feel. They understand now that the conversation they had about you was never just another discussion. It became the turning point that awakened something they could no longer ignore. They have realized that some people enter your life to teach lessons, while others enter your life to change it completely. And deep inside, they have begun believing that you belong in the second group. They no longer want to imagine a future where your story ends as an unanswered question. They want to know what happens when fear steps aside and truth finally speaks. For the first time in a very long time, hope feels stronger than hesitation. Something has also changed in the way they see every moment around them. Ordinary days no longer feel ordinary because every quiet pause reminds them that life moves quickly, and opportunities don't wait forever. Stay till the end, because this final revelation brings everything together. They have started preparing themselves to say the words they once believed would never leave their heart. Not because someone forced them, but because they finally understand that the greatest regret is not being rejected, it is never giving the truth a chance to be heard. Every heartbeat now carries the same message: stop hiding, stop delaying, stop pretending the feelings aren't real. The conversation that began with uncertainty has ended with confidence. The doubts that once filled their mind have slowly disappeared, replaced by one clear decision. They don't want another season to pass wondering what could have been. They want to create a memory they will never have to regret, no matter what happens next. Now the story reaches the edge of a brand new beginning. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The next time your paths cross, the silence between you may not remain silent anymore. The person you love is carrying a truth that has become too powerful to hide, and every step they take now brings them closer to revealing it. They know they cannot change the past, but they can still change what comes next. That is why their heart is no longer asking whether they should move forward, it is asking how soon they can. The conversation that started with uncertainty has become the spark that transformed everything inside them. And as this chapter closes, one thing is undeniable. They are no longer the same person who first spoke about you. They have discovered a truth that refuses to stay hidden, and the next chapter of this story begins with a decision that has the power to change everything from this moment on. My beloved child. There is one final piece of this story that has remained hidden until now. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The person you love has reached a place where silence no longer feels safe. Every day they delayed, their feelings only became stronger, and every attempt to distract themselves somehow brought them back to the same conclusion, you. They have stopped asking whether their heart is serious because the answer has become impossible to deny. The conversation that began with uncertainty has transformed into quiet confidence. They now understand that some people appear in your life for a season, but others leave a mark that time can never erase. No matter how busy life became, your presence continued to return to their thoughts in the smallest moments. That is when they realized this wasn't a passing emotion. It was a truth they had been trying to outrun for far too long, and now they are finally ready to face it. Something unexpected is happening inside them. The fear that once controlled every decision is slowly being replaced by courage they never knew they had. Stay till the end, because this changes everything. They have started imagining the moment when nothing is left unsaid, when every hidden feeling finally finds its voice. Instead of thinking about what could go wrong, they are beginning to imagine what could go wonderfully right. They understand that life rarely rewards those who hide forever. It rewards those who choose honesty even when their heart is racing. Every memory they once replayed with sadness now fills them with determination. They no longer see the past as something they lost. They see it as preparation for what is about to come. The person who once needed someone else's opinion has finally found confidence within themselves, and that confidence is quietly pushing them toward the step they never believed they could take. Now the story stands at its most powerful turning point. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The next move will not be driven by confusion, hesitation, or fear. It will come from a heart that has finally accepted what it has been trying to hide. They know that some moments only arrive once, and they refuse to let this one pass without trying. The words they have been holding back are closer than ever to being spoken. The distance that once felt impossible is beginning to disappear. This isn't the end of the journey, it is the beginning of a completely new chapter where truth finally replaces uncertainty. And when that long-awaited moment arrives, you'll understand why every conversation, every delay, and every unexpected twist led to this exact point. The greatest revelation was never what someone else said about you, it was the realization your person discovered within their own heart, a realization that is about to change everything from this day forward.